And now, we've come to the portion of our show where we have to ask, what just happened? We can't believe it either, but let's take a look back at the insanity that was this week and look ahead to what will make us facepalm next week. This is What Just Happened on the Dean Ovidala Show. Take it away, Dean.
And welcome back to the Dean Ovidala Show. We're live right here, Friday, April 26th. And tonight's show, what just happened, we have three special guests, and it's more like a support group. We are all from groups that Trump has demonized.
Oh,
everybody
man.
here. Raul's of Mexican heritage. Maysoon is an amalgam of things. You're a woman, you're a Muslim, you're
disabled.
outspoken, and you have a disability. And Wali's African-American, also Muslim.
And left-handed.
And left-handed. And of
There we
course,
go.
I'm Muslim. So
Too.
this is really Trump's nightmare. This is America in 2045. We're taking over.
Right.
That's what's scaring white supremacists.
Right.
This room is like the superhero. We're the Avengers here. This is the end game.
end game.
End game
End game.
is oppression of white people. That's
And
the
then
end
they
game? No, that's not
arrested
it.
us.
So Wali Collins is
Yes.
here. Great comic. He's been on many times before, Comedy Central. Been in movies with Stanley Tucci. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember that.
Submission.
And you got Raul Reyes, who's been on many times, NBC and MSNBC regular, and writes for CNN. And good to see you, my friend. He's in a tie. Were you just on air or something?
No, it was hours ago, but I hadn't been home, so
That's very.
I'm just,
And look who's here, my good
Not that
friend
busy.
and sister from another mother, Maysoon Zayid, who from the New York American Comedy Festival and a million other things. Maysoon, #1 TED Talk. Great to see you again.
Thank you.
So let's talk about tomorrow night's the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And typically on this eve of that, we'd be saying, what jokes do you think they're going to tell? How will the comedian do? And all kind of stuff like that. And, I know this comic. I think they're really edgy or not, or will they bomb? But we have nothing like that to talk about because for the first year since the 1980s, there's no comedian at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And a big part of that is these jokes by Michelle Wolf. I was at the dinner last year. This is
really?
when people walked out, were these jokes by Michelle Wolf. Let's hear clip number 1.
Every time Sarah steps up to the podium, I get excited because I'm not really sure what we're going to get. A press briefing, a bunch of lies, or divided into softball teams. It's shirts and skins, and this time don't be such a little bitch, Jim Acosta. And I'm never really sure what to call Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Is it Sarah Sanders? Is it Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Is it Cousin Huckabee? Is it Auntie Huckabee Sanders? What's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women? Oh, I know, Aunt Coulter. I actually really like Sarah. I think she's very resourceful. She burns facts, and then she uses that ash to create a perfect smoky eye. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's lies.
Do you want me to
Probably lies.
Let me share what would happen in the room.
Yeah.
So I'm in the room. She starts out, Michelle Wolf, doing really well. She's doing generic-y jokes, and the audience is digging her.
Right.
And as a comic, you're like, this is great. Then she crushes Sarah Suckabee. I call her Sarah Suckabee.
Suckabee.
And here's what happened. She told the first few jokes about Suckabee, and people laughed. But then the camera, and they had big screens, turns to Sarah Suckabee.
I remember that.
And she's not smiling or
Right.
laughing, and the whole room gets uncomfortable. I'm inside, I'm loving it, but they got so that's why the room got tense, and that's when Matt Schlapp and a few others just literally got up and walked out. Oh my God, I can't. And then Trump tweeted the next day, the White House Correspondents' Dinner was a failure last year, but this year was an embarrassment to everyone associated with it. The filthy comedian totally bombed. Couldn't even deliver her lines, much like Seth Meyers' weak performance. Put dinner to rest or start over. And sadly, it looks like they chose start over because there's no more comedian.
Right.
First of all, what's your reaction to the jokes of Michelle? I mean, it's unfair to just take them out of context, but Sarah Suckabee, we know she's a liar. The Mueller report proved it for anyone who doubted it. So, Raul, were the jokes beyond the pale of acceptability?
No, I mean, you were there. I wasn't there. You were there. But to me, what really bugged me about this whole experience was that this whole episode was that the press really came together in presenting these remarks as presenting them as though they were filthy and though they were way out of line and they were offensive.
Remember that.
And I wasn't there. I've only heard the excerpts, but there was nothing to me that I found offensive or out of line. It's a comedy routine. That what she said about her to me was like pretty standard fare. In fact, almost generic when you're talking about a comedy routine. There was nothing, filthy or graphic about it, and I just think it reflects more on that crowd. Washington, even the so-called liberals in Washington, that's a conservative group. They are very buttoned up, and to me, part of the whole point and enjoyment of comedy is that uncomfortable space. So if people are offended because Sarah Huckabee Sanders was uncomfortable, then why are they going to this event? So.
And also, by the way, conservative, there's another part. There's a business angle here. No one wants to lose access to the White House, so
totally.
They defend. So, Maysoon, you're a comic. You've offended many people.
Yeah,
you've offended me.
Well, I have. I'm offensive. It is what I do. But I think the most important thing was she was telling the truth. Sarah Huckabee Sanders does lie. And I think that the Republicans and everyone else who got all mad about it got mad because they think that Sarah sucks at doing makeup. It wasn't Michelle saying she was ugly or that she didn't know how to do her makeup or what I observed that she puts the eyelashes on the wrong eyes. It's the truth. She lies. That's what the joke was. But also, I just love the fact that these people that are always crying and whining about us needing snowflakes and needing safe spaces, they walk out.
They literally walk on and tweeting instantly. Yeah. Worst thing ever. We're never coming back. And I was entering. There was Sarah Sanders walking in when I was walking into the event before the jokes. And I looked at her and I was like, ugh.
But why couldn't she laugh? Why couldn't she crack
refused
a
to laugh.
smile?
She just,
Why
the whole
do they
time,
have no
because
sense
her
of humor?
boss, and I'll play a clip in a second. Obviously, we can't see it from 2011 when Trump gets crushed by Seth Meyers and Trump. And if you watch the video,
isn't
by
that
Obama,
why we got him?
Well, that's what some people say.
Right.
What do you? I mean, Wally, have you been in rooms where people? You're a not intentionally offensive guy in any way, but still, have you had situations where people got offended by?
Yeah.
Is that remarkable? You're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably one of the cleanest comics in New York,
right?
And people came up to me and were offended by what I said, and first I'm thinking you sure got the right guy, what did I say? Because I asked him, what did I say that offended you? First of all. And they repeat it in some way, and I'm like, how? But I think what happens is that when you hear the truth and you're not proud of that truth, and someone puts you on blast and does it, and people laugh at you, now you're being ridiculed.
Right.
So the thing I love about Michelle was that she was so like a surgeon. She found that nerve, and it hit so perfectly, right on target, that it offended them, it shocked them.
Right.
And the only reaction that they had was like, we don't have to do, run out, and then kind of like clear our heads, and then try to somehow, some way, diminish it or defame it or something to tarnish it. But I just thought it was brilliant, because that's what we do. Our job is to bring up these truths and present them in a fun way, in a funny way. The sad thing was that, or ironically, the sad thing was that she hit it so much on the mark that people are just uncomfortable.
And to me, this episode also, it's a game that the Trump administration plays,
gosh, yes.
where everyone from the president on down, they totally abuse their authority, their office. They do all types of things that would be considered disgraceful under any other presidency, almost on a daily basis. And yet, when someone calls them out on it, only then are they hiding behind sort of the so-called power of the institution, that you shouldn't speak about the press secretary that way, or you shouldn't talk about the president that way. Never mind that their behavior has not been befitting the office for 2.5 years.
And I have to say this too, and what makes it worse, and it's almost like is that they're not having comedians. So now
for at least this year, which is really important. It seems like they gave in.
Yeah, and so now that makes Michelle Wolf even more significant and even more powerful, because she did that, and they're like, we can't handle this.
They're making it like she killed it, and then also like the media going along with that narrative really affected her career. I think
she's a hero.
She's amazing.
I think she's a hero because she did her job. She did her job very well.
Maysoon, have you ever... Look, there are times you're intentionally provocative. That's what you do. But have there been times someone came up and complained about a joke, but interpreted in a way that was not even grounded in any kind of reality whatsoever? Or I did a joke at a college, and generally when I do colleges, it's fine. But I did a joke about, I met my girlfriend on this dating website called eBay, and how she came with free shipping. She's from the Middle East. And someone came up to me afterwards and goes, "You were joking about human trafficking." I go, "What?" So they had interpreted it in a way that I'm like, so I didn't get upset. I'm like, "Why do you say that?" They go, "eBay, you're buying." I'm like, but clearly it's so over the top. Like, I'm not going to be dismissive of their concerns, but if you had a situation where because I'm like, I'm not joking about human trafficking, and if one person out of you tell the joke 1,000 times, and one person says something once. If 10 people show after show came up, I'd be like, "There's something wrong with my jokes."
Yeah, I always think it's interesting when someone comes up to me. I think they're going to criticize me for one thing, and instead they come up with something else. I'm like, "No, that's not what I meant," and they say, "Yes, it is," and they insist, insist, and they'll reference something I've never heard of, and I'm like, "No, but I've never heard of that thing. This isn't about that massacre. Right. It was really about my cat and security, because I do that joke about my cat getting patted down in security like a terror kitty, and I've had people be like, "It's really not nice the way you diminish 9/11," and I'm like, "No, this is literally about my cat's name being Beyonce and people grabbing their cameras because they think it's actually Beyonce," and they say no. And I think that's what is the most interesting, when they refuse to believe that you didn't tell the joke they heard, because they heard
that's
it.
Interesting.
That's
Now the contrast is Donald Trump, 2011, and I interviewed Seth Meyers, and he goes, "I don't think it's true at all," but some have said the 2011 smackdown of Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner was the reason he ran for president. I'm not sure, but here I want to play a couple of the jokes. Here's they're short ones. Here's for Seth Meyers' opening salvo against Donald Trump, and everyone at home, picture Trump. What he's doing looks angry. Everyone's laughing. He's sitting at the table, Washington Post table, and he looks angry. And
he's looking forward.
Right. Here's clip number 2.
And then, of course, there's Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Brilliant.
And listen to the crowd. I'm leaving in the long form response. Listen.
Donald Trump often appears on Fox, which is ironic because a fox often appears on Donald Trump's head.
They're like Lori.
Washington Post table with Trump and you can't finish your entree, don't worry, the fox will eat it.
So he does jokes about that. Then I'm going to play a really short one, which I love. It's also relevant to today because Donald Trump defending his reaction to Charlottesville today, saying, "What I said was perfectly correct, and I was praising Robert E. Lee, who's a slave-owning guy who fought to keep white supremacy." But in any event, this is 2011, Seth Meyers slamming Trump's relationship to black people and that he's subtly inferring he's a racist way before most people. What I love, if people watch the video, it's on YouTube, Obama's laughing so hard at this joke. It's like a 15-second joke. Let's play clip number 3.
Donald Trump said recently he has a great relationship with the blacks, though unless the blacks are a family of white people, I bet he's mistaken.
This is like a laugh track. God.
I'm leaving the full laugh. And
Yeah,
Obama
but who's laughing
had
now?
his face. Well, that's the thing, though.
Who's
You've got
laughing
that.
now?
Yeah.
So I thought that was amazing use of comedy. Trump, the next day, called him a stutterer. In fact, Trump is so scarred by that. In his tweet last year about Michelle Wolf, he brought up the filthy comedian totally bombed, couldn't even deliver her lines, much like the Seth Meyers Week performance. He's been scarred for 8 years from this performance. It's troubled him to that day.
So petty. It's such a petty.
But everyone gives
insecure.
in to him, and now there's no comedian, and he won. He won. All the guffaws. I mean, I remember how much I loved watching this happen to George W. Bush.
Right.
Because
He laughed at it.
He's a war criminal. And when war criminals are made fun of and they chuckle,
Right.
they become more likable. But this guy destroyed the entire thing. And everyone gives in to him. Everyone gives in to his every whim.
I disagree that he destroyed it. I really think that he made it even more intriguing because I really think that next year, if they have comedians, everybody on the planet's going to watch to see,
But do you think they'll go back? Because what I found is he just beats people down and they go, okay. Like
Until
with
he's
the
gone.
subpoenas,
Well,
Trump says no, it's over.
But
Trump says change it, they do.
Well, I just think that it's just too juicy that people are still, this whole thing right here is just too juicy.
Are you auditioning to be that comic, Wally? Is
We
that
would
what
want-
I'm watching
oh my
right
God,
now?
What are you kidding? You know how much I would love to. In 2015, we had a meeting with like 10 Muslim Americans with President Obama. It's like a room just like slightly bigger, so we were all there.
Right.
And I said to him, I don't know why, but this is what I do. I go, President Obama, I am available to do the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I will do it for food. I'm like, and he laughed, but I'm not even kidding. Like, and that's before Hassan Minhaj did it. I'm like, I'll be the first Muslim comedian. And he laughed. He had a sense of humor. But talk about sense of humor. Here is Seth Meyers making fun, and you can't see it, obviously. Here's Seth making fun of Obama. It's a quick joke. Obama's laughing. And I want to play it and try to understand. You've seen people who don't laugh when you make fun of them. What's in Trump's psyche that he can't laugh at himself? So it's a quick joke, clip 5.
Now you, on the other hand, Mr. President, have aged a little. What happened to you? When you were sworn in, you looked like the guy from the Old Spice commercials. Now you look like Louis Gossett Sr. I've never said this to anyone before, but maybe you should start smoking again. Is this the change you were talking about? Mr. President, look at your hair. If your hair gets any whiter, the Tea Party is going to endorse it.
So, Obama, you gotta watch the video. That's it. What Obama is laughing like hysterically at this, and he's mocking him for aging and stuff like that. Why is it when Obama can laugh at jokes right to his face, everyone's laughing at him, he is the butt of the joke, while Donald Trump looks angry and wants to silence comedians? Raul?
Well, it's not just Obama. It's every other president who has gone to this because they're basically, fundamentally normal, non-defective human beings. But Trump is so deeply insecure. He has lived his entire life really in such a bubble, insulated by his money, insulated by his celebrity, and by all the sycophants around him that he can't take it. I mean, part of the whole point, whoever the president is, you all know whoever the president is probably the number one target of all the jokes in some way. That's the whole point of this. Only Donald Trump can go in there and see it as such an affront, because he is fundamentally a petty person that he cannot stand. He cannot see the humor in anyone poking fun at him, because he sees it sort of reflected in his own very narrow,
only thing he did
do
vision. A roast for Comedy Central. He was in on it. He went there and they abused him. But I think on some level, when he knew I'm part of this,
he was the focus of the attention.
Right, and they're praising me through their jokes. Right. Perhaps it was different. Maysoon, what do you make it? I mean, I think people can't laugh at themselves.
Well, I think first of all, it's because he's not funny. He can't make people laugh. He can't tell jokes. He can't elicit that response, so he resents it. 2, I think he literally doesn't have a soul. And in order to chuckle at yourself, there has to be something filling that void. Like, the Grinch didn't get the smile until he had a heart. Donald Trump has none. And then finally, I'm going to steal what Wali said. He can't handle the truth. Yeah. He can't handle the truth. Like, when you have a sense of humor and someone... Dean and I, we tease each other. I laugh. Especially when it's true.
And I get angry.
When someone, no,
I get angry. I blocked you on Facebook a year ago. So
I created a
I have to say something pretty interesting.
Sure.
Did you know today is Melania's birthday?
She's 49 and she looks like she's 60.
But don't you find it interesting that no one's you haven't seen it in the media?
You would think
would you say someone say happy birthday to the
I
first
really
lady?
don't care.
You're right.
But I'm saying they did it for. But I'm saying I just find it interesting that the media did not pick up the first lady's birthday. They did it for Michelle.
All I want for her birthday is proof of life at this point to make sure she's alive. I mean,
but you're totally right.
I don't know where she is.
I didn't think of that.
I'm still waiting on that press conference about her
immigration.
Her immigration status, which is coming in a few weeks.
Remember, she disappeared for 3 weeks. Obviously, to have some kind of surgery, and I don't judge it, whatever. But there was something about that. But Wali, it's interesting when I wrote the article about the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I gave it to Olivier Knox, even though I said I wrote for the Beast. I'm like, I want you to see it first from me. I wrote that Trump had sued Bill Maher for $5 million over a joke. He had lashed out against Jon Stewart using Jon Stewart's real name, which is a Jewish name, saying, "What are you hiding?" So he's using anti-Semitism, and called for SNL to be canceled. And Olivier said bluntly, I didn't know about that history. and I wonder if he had known, and I said he was on my show. I go, what if you did something different? He goes, maybe, because I didn't realize Trump has had a war with comedy for this long. And I'm like, I don't know if that excuses it or not. I mean, but I think it's sad that tomorrow night there will not be a comedian for the first time since the mid-1980s. And people, and at least Samantha Bee's doing her alternative thing, but it's It's not good. I mean, imagine SNL had tamed their. You do less of
but
SNL.
look at it this way. On the other hand, like I think if they did try and do it as a quote unquote normal year and have a comedian, it still would be a weird event because Trump at this point, we're obviously in a very different place than we were 1 year back. He is so toxic. Normally they draw some Hollywood celebrities, these different people, like people who happen to be in the news, like a Kardashian, just random people from Hollywood who show up there and they give it they make it a big glitzy thing. This year, I don't think those kind of people would even want to go just because anything associated with Trump, to especially people who are in the entertainment industry, is they don't want to go near it. They don't want to be photographed with, say, someone like Sean Spicer. They don't want to be seen at a table with people maybe from the administration. So I think that this is such an unnatural administration in the terms of like how inherently offensive it is, that even if they were going ahead, it would not be the same.
A year ago, last year at the dinner, the biggest celebrity there, I'm not kidding, was Michael Avenatti. Everyone wanted a picture. I got a picture with him. He'd been on my show, and he came on a short time after that, and everyone's like, Michael Avenatti, he was a star then, and to think a year later. So I'll play this and we'll go out. Here, this might be, we'll comment on this side of it, but we'll go to break. When you talk about the Trump got the last laugh, this is, to me, typifies Obama. What a great teller of jokes. He was great at telling jokes. Remarkable. His timing was remarkable. He was hard to follow. If you're a comic, I was saying by the end, you should have the comic and then him because you're following a killer. But here's Obama, 2011, destroying Trump right to his face. And this might be really where he's like, I'm going to run against these bastards. Here's clip number 4.
And I know just the guy to do it, Donald Trump. Is here tonight. All kidding aside, obviously we all know about your credentials and breadth of experience. For example, no, seriously, just recently in an episode of Celebrity Apprentice at the steakhouse, the men's cooking team did not impress the judges from Omaha Steaks. And there was a lot of blame to go around, but you, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night.
You're listening to the Dean Obeidallah Show, where we crush Trump's lies every single day.
On SiriusXM Progress 127.
You're listening to What Just Happened with everyone's favorite host, Dean Obidala.
And welcome back. What just happened? Friday, April 26th. We have an all-star panel here of support group members, Wali Collins, Maysoon Zayid, and Raul Reyes right here. So let's talk about, we can do Pick Your Adventure. What do you guys want to do? Either we've got...
Choose Your Adventure.
Choose Your Adventure, that's right. Choose Your Adventure.
Right.
I sent you a bunch of topics. We can, for the next one, do you want to talk impeachment time? Do you want to talk about Jared Kushner saying the entire Russia attack was a couple of Facebook ads? Or Donald Trump today saying... My response to Charlottesville was perfect, and I was talking about Robert E. Lee, and he's a great general, and that kind of stuff. What are you guys feeling?
Charlottesville.
Charlottesville? All right.
What was the first one?
Impeachment,
Kushner,
or Charlottesville?
We're going to get to that one. Okay. Let's talk. I'm not even going to play, but I want to play a little of Joe Biden's announcement yesterday that touches on this, which prompted the question, which caused this whole discussion. So I applaud Joe Biden's video for this. So Joe Biden in his announcement video yesterday focused completely on Charlottesville, Virginia. It was remarkable to do it and daring. And first he tells the history of Charlottesville, then he talks about what happened in August 2017 and Heather Heyer getting killed and everything. And then this is what Joe Biden, just play like 30 seconds of it. Joe Biden talking about Trump's response. Here's clip number 6, please.
That's when we heard the words of the President of the United States that stunned the world and shocked the conscience of this nation. He said there were, quote, some very fine people on both sides. Very fine people on both sides? With those words, the President of the United States assigned a moral equivalence between those spreading hate and those with the courage to stand against it. And in that moment, I knew the threat to this nation was unlike any I had ever seen in my lifetime.
Well, let me get your reaction. What's your gut reaction to Joe Biden? His entire opening video, 3 minutes, was focused on Charlottesville, Virginia, and Donald Trump's response and the threat that Donald Trump poses to this nation. He really made it clear about the stakes. No one else has, others have talked about it, but no one made it the focus of their rollout. So we'll go to your rollout.
I liked it because, I mean, he's obviously different from so many of the other candidates because he doesn't need to do something to jump out and distinguish himself. Everyone knows who Joe Biden is. He has extremely high favorables. I think it's good because he's starting off in terms of making it sort of a values type of advertising, just reminding people, look, this is where we were. This is what the president, these were his words. And as you know, this is already something that Trump is trying to rewrite history about, but just drawing people's attention, because for a lot of people in that middle space who maybe weren't necessarily hyperpartisan Democratic or Republican, Charlottesville, there were two things to me over the course of the Trump presidency that were really defining moments that pulled people off the sidelines. One was the family separations crisis, but the other one was Charlottesville, where maybe people who weren't paying that much attention and weren't hardcore political decide like, hey, the WTF, what's going on? And this is a strong reminder of that.
Maysoon, what's your reaction to him making Charlottesville such a focal point of his rollout?
It totally shocked me because I thought he was going to do like a folksy, I was born in Scranton and like ride in the train and waving at people and maybe a couple of pictures of him hugging Obama, like the bromance is back. And I thought it was stunning. I thought it was smart. I thought it was brutal. It gave me chills, which I usually don't get from these like campaign videos. Of course, Elizabeth Warren gives me chills, but that's a whole different thing. But I thought it really was the way to go because I think people like me are sick and tired of the like, focus on the policy and let's get out the vote because this is not normal. And he reminded us this is not normal. It's a battle for the soul of the country.
What I liked, and Wali, I'd love to get your reaction here, that I'll tell you a little story. 3 weeks ago, I went to Reverend Al Sharpton had his National Action Network conference, and all the Democratic candidates spoke there. And they gave their policy ideas and got good applause. But Bernie Sanders, and most didn't mention Trump. Bernie Sanders, out of the blue, in his speech goes, and I don't want to say, he goes, I know the media doesn't like this, I just got to say, Donald Trump is a racist. And the crowd explodes. There's over 1,000, almost all African Americans. They know Trump's a racist. They like that this guy acknowledged what they've been going through with this guy. That's what I liked about Biden's thing, being Muslim, all the garbage he's thrown at our community. So what's your reaction to him making Charlottesville the pivotal focal point of his rollout?
Well,
interesting. The black guy's going to tell us we're all wrong. We all have it wrong. Tell us.
You have to look at all of it, I believe. Just like a soundbite of him talking about Charlottesville, and you kind of go, First of all, the music was brilliant. The bed of music, kind of like people are like, yeah.
It was very well done.
But I still have a problem with the whole Nita Hill. Well,
that's different. I'm not. No. We're not talking about endorsing Joe Biden. I'm just asking about the use of that.
Well, okay. So I think it's a little hacky. It was because it was like he's going for it's like advertising. Mm-hmm. We're gonna go for that market, and that market that people are still uncomfortable about, are still kind of like whatever is that because no one is not it's still not settled, so to speak. So he went for that, and it's like brilliant marketing, and and his words were chosen carefully.
Sure,
everything
scripted.
He was scripted. Everything it was
focus group, probably. I imagine it's
exactly
focus group.
Yeah, but don't you think that brilliant marketing is part of what you want in a campaign rollout ad?
Well, see, but then is it sincere? You know what I mean? Because now you're going for that demographic. You know what I mean? It's like how can we affect, or what can I say to affect people and get them riled up or get them emotional? And I just felt that that's what he went for. And it's kind of like, okay, we're and people are like tear whatever, and it's like you guys fell for it.
But so you do you have a candidate you like? Is there a candidate you already like in the field?
I have a whole problem with this whole candidacy.
Oh my God! That's
dude,
let's be nice.
We can't beat him.
What?
We can't beat him.
Trump. We can beat Trump.
But here's
the 38% approval rating. We can crush him.
2016, we thought he'll never win. Now everyone I talk to says he's
Wally,
hard
tell
to
us
beat.
why democracy sucks.
Tell us why it
Tell
sucks.
us democracy. What's wrong with our nation?
All right, here's this person who was a reality TV show star a year before he became president. Mm-hmm. The man had no understanding of government or how it worked at all.
Right.
So basically, he was learning how to be a president as he was president. What?
I agree.
And so he's saying these offensive things. He's saying these totally wrong things and doing it all backwards. And the man is still president. The man is still president. So there are more people involved in this situation than this man who is just fumbling his way through this most important office. He's a representation of me. And I don't consider him, to say, oh, that's my president of the world. He's representing all of us. Listen, it's a hard gig. I wouldn't want to do it. And so here's this person representing all of us. And so here's this man that doubled down on killing 5 young boys who were innocent. He put an article in the
Central
paper.
Park 5, right?
Central Park 5, right. They were proven innocent by DNA. He still put another article in the paper saying, they're guilty of something, kill them anyway. But did he?
I didn't know. I didn't know about the second part, but he's never apologized.
No, yeah, he
doubled down.
He doubled down on it. Mm-hmm. Yes. So now you're saying, okay, this man's representing me. This man, and like I said, it's a hard gig. So, and now he's still president. So there are more people and more things involved than this, getting rid of this man, because I really think that there's businesses, there's so much more involved keeping this man afloat. And he's such a yes man because he's doing all these things, and the whole tax cut thing, what joke that was. And we found out that basically that, helped his friends, his billionaire friends, and so once again, he's still president. So it's like things that he's saying are so impeachable. There's so things that he should have been taken up on, he should be indicted for. So many things. But you know what? He's still president. There's more. That's what I'm saying. You know what? I throw my hands in the air and I'm like, ugh.
Because you just don't care. We can't. We've got to not give up. Don't check out. It is just too. If we come out big, we win big in 2018. That's not even a cliche. 2018, we showed it. We did that. And he worked really hard. Trump was everywhere.
But we still lost the Senate. And that's what the Electoral College is. It's a reflection of the Senate.
We picked up 7 governorships, though. We picked up 7 governorships. Okay. So, we flipped states that no one thought we could flip. And key states, Michigan, Wisconsin, ones that we had lost in 2016. And so we're in a good position if we nominate a good candidate. My concern is, how do we not cannibalize each other? Because just yesterday, I shared Joe Biden video. Yeah. I'm like, this is a really good video. And some progressive I know called me like sexist and racist and stuff. I'm like, what are you? I'm like, are you out of your mind?
That's what Democrats are so great at is attacking each other and factionalizing. But I hear what you're saying, Wally, about Joe Biden and this and Trump being there in so many ways. It is obviously problematic. But I do think, to me, that going back to that Biden ad, it just worked for me because over the last 2 years, all of us, no matter how, whether you're super progressive or even super conservative, we are desensitized, whether we want to admit it or not, to absolutely outrageous appalling, atrocious things.
Yeah.
And to me, that Biden ad was just a reminder of, at its core, how grotesque aspects of this presidency are, that even neo-Nazis, the gathering, what was supposed to be like the largest gathering of white supremacists in modern American history, that even that he couldn't denounce. I mean, in terms of the job of the president being so hard, that's one of the easiest things in the world, like to denounce Nazis on U.S. soil, and even that.
Maysoon, let me read his statement today, and I'd love to get your response. So Trump's asked today about his response, and all because of Biden's video. So Biden's video worked. It got the media to ask him, and then Trump responded in a way that led MS and CNN tonight, top of their hours. They asked him about his response. He goes, I've answered that question. If you look at what I said, you will see that question was answered perfectly.
Perfectly.
And then he has, I was talking about people that went because they felt very strong about the monument to Robert E. Lee, a great general. Whether you like it or not, he's one of our great generals. And he goes on to praise the general. People were there protesting the taking down of the monument to Robert E. Lee. Everyone knows that. So, and obviously he could have cleared up everything today. He's called the media the enemy of the people. He could have said white supremacy is the enemy of the people. He could have said neo-Nazi the enemy of the people. Just simply, and I couldn't have responded. I would have been like, he got me, checkmate. Instead he did this. What's your reaction to him saying they were just there to support a general who was the Confederate general who was fighting to keep, chattel slavery of black people? That's all he was doing. What's wrong with that?
He answered it perfectly the first time. And he made it perfectly clear today. Yeah. He is not talking to us. He is talking to Cult 45. He is talking to white supremacists. And he's saying, I'm going to spit out your talking point. That talking point that we all know was to, develop to kind of whitewash the whole slavery thing and say, no, he was a dope guy, just like Kim Jong-un is a great guy. Like, yeah, they massacre people, they enslave people. This guy was a treasonous fuck who tried to take down our whole country. Why not cheer for their statues? So his message was clear. And there were people who were saying, oh, no, he's ignorant and he doesn't understand. He's not ignorant. He knows exactly what he's doing. And I think, again, people who even give him a pass and say his purpose wasn't to say, I am the Orange Grand Wizard. You are my people. I hear you. I get you. Keep going. That's what he did.
Yeah, he's basically a businessman. He's going where the money is. He's not a morals guy.
Right.
He's going.
He looks around the country. Goes, the most people here are white Christian. I'm going to do that. White Christian.
Powerful. The ones are powerful who are basically who have that money, and so he knows this is probably an 8-year gig. And you know what? I'm gonna do whatever I can because when I get out, when I leave, I'm still trying to keep this going.
And this is one of the lessons that he's very incurious, anti-intellectual, but this is one of the lessons that I believe he absorbed very deeply from Steve Bannon. That if you keep talking to that segment of the population that has cultural fears and still that has all this that responds to race baiting and fear mongering, as long as you keep them in your back pocket, you cannot go wrong. I think that's one of the true lessons that he learned from Steve Bannon. And so even though he's gone, he every time he always comes back to immigrants or bashing Muslims. That's like his safe space. He is comfortable doing that because no matter what bad press he gets, he knows there is that group of Americans who will still root for him and defend it.
When Steve Bannon was hosting his show, he sat in this chair that I'm sitting in. I'm not even kidding. This was the Bannon
You're gonna get
chair when he had the
lice.
morning show and when he was up here from D.C. and then when he returned, it was here. And I'd always said, it smells like sulfur. Why? And Steve Bannon said, we got to go to break. I'm sorry. Be right back after this. At this point, the question is not who connected to Donald Trump as a criminal. The question is anyone connected to Donald Trump who's not a criminal?
The Dean Obeidallah Show. SiriusXM Progress. You're listening to What Just Happened with everyone's favorite host, Dino Bidala.
And welcome back to Dino Bidala's show, where it's What Just Happened, our hour here with our friend Raul Reyes tonight, Maysoon, Zayid, and Wali. Now it's time to play the game. Hit it, Lauren.
Now, it's time for America's newest game show sensation.
Guess who's next?
Oh, this stressful game.
And here it comes. Between the three of you, if you don't get everyone right, you should be supporting Trump. You just dopes. All right, there's three of you. So here we go. They're not that hard. Here's the first one. Obviously, I give you the quote, and I give you 4 human beings who may have said it.
Human beings.
Right, exactly. As opposed to Trump. Here we go. The president's job is to enforce federal law. If he had ordered its violation to save innocent life, preserve human freedom, he would have a moral defense. But ordering obstruction to save himself from the consequences of his own behavior is unlawful, defenseless, and condemnable. Was that George Conway? Was it William Barr, Judge Andrew Napolitano, or Eric Holder?
Judge Andrew.
Judge Andrew.
Yeah. I'm going.
You guys got that one.
Yeah.
But what's remarkable is a guy on Fox News, Judge Napolitano, who's been pretty good. I play a lot of his clips. Napolitano's been really
his show.
Yeah, his radio show
Yeah.
years ago. All right, here comes another one. Let's see, when there was a march across Europe by 1 million people who wanted to get into Western Europe, Angela Merkel let them in. Open borders. It was a downfall of Germany.
Oh, God.
Oh.
We all know that.
Do you know that before I even tell
Yes,
you?
I
Sean
do.
Hannity, Ann Coulter, Adolf Hitler, or Lara Trump?
Oh, right.
It's Coulter. Not
Lara
Coulter.
Trump. Lara Trump.
Lara Trump.
Down. Yes.
You guys are good, man. All right, here's a
believe it's
tweet that went
Coulter.
crazy this week. So if you're on Twitter, you saw it. It's a tweet, quote, deranged Donald has this neat job where he's supposed to receive and read books with more accurate, highly valuable, top secret information, but he doesn't like these books unless they have a lot of pictures and tell him how great he is. Plus, deranged Donald doesn't really need all those books because Fox News. Bernie Sanders, George Conway, Adam Schiff.
George Conway.
George Conway, I'm so tired of being part of him and Kelly's
What's
sex
the
game.
fourth one? Fourth people?
Fourth one was Dino Bidala.
Dino Bidala. I was going with Dino Bidala.
Lauren put me down. Lauren writes these. She does a good job here.
George Conway is canceled, but anyway.
I cannot believe. I don't know what kind of relationship they have. I don't know if they live
This
together.
is the
Kelly-
whole relationship. It's 50 Shades of Orange. He tweets something nasty. That's how they get it on. It's a sex game. We're all part of it, and I don't want to play anymore.
Do you think, or do you think covering the bases because when Trump's gone, the economies can still work because they're both on one
Yes.
side on the other side?
Something like
Do you think
that.
it's something like?
No.
All right, here's one. Here we go. Here's one. This might be a little tougher. Challenge level goes up here.
Okay.
You can feel the history, the echo of the entertainers. In this administration, during these disturbing times of promoting racism, tonight we reject it. No, you don't. Not here. Not on this stage. Joe Biden, Stephen Colbert, Hillary Clinton, or Robert De Niro?
Colbert.
I have
No,
no idea
that's-
what you just said.
Wait a minute, it's
Say it
either De Niro or Colbert.
You can't. There's only 4. You can't pick one or the other. I mean, that's
I
a fucking.
Can I go?
You can feel the history, the echo of the entertainers in this administration during these disturbing times of promoting racism. Tonight, we reject it. We say, no, not here, sir. Not on this stage, sir. Good day. Good day to you, sir. That's
Niro.
some-
De Niro?
De Niro.
I didn't mean to make it good.
You gave it to
I
us.
was doing so. That
gave
was.
it to us.
I was doing Tootsie. That was from. Good day. Sir. No, good. Remember, she goes, good. Like the guy's groping her. No, I said.
And you said she. Very good.
that was Tootsie. Right?
That's good acting.
All right, last one. The criticism of Congressman Omar, what Donald Trump has been saying about her, is reprehensible. It is trafficking in Islamophobia and should be condemned by everyone. Was it Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg?
I'm just going to say
more
Elizabeth
syllable.
Warren because I like
Buttigieg.
saying her name.
Who did you
Which
say?
one?
I
tough
said
one.
Warren because I like saying her name.
What Warren? Elizabeth Warren.
B?
Can you say it again? Say the quote again.
The criticisms of Congressman Omar, what Donald Trump has been saying about her, is reprehensible. It is trafficking in Islamophobia and should be condemned by everyone. Liz Warren, Harris, Booker, Buttigieg.
That's a good one.
Buttigieg.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because they all.
And you picked Warren?
I picked
She
Warren.
wants to
but
say
it's
her name.
Did you
Buttigieg.
guys say it? Anybody else?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna Buttigieg.
It's-
They all got it wrong. Was it wrong? Or wrong? We got the Trump says wrong to you. It was Cory Booker.
No, he said something
actually-
decent.
He was my last.
Cory
Me
Booker.
too.
I think we're from Jersey. Cory Booker's a Jersey guy. He's been acting like a guy from the suburbs, although he's sort of raised in the suburbs, he's been living in Newark for years. He's a fighter, and he's been choosing this, I'm going to be Martin Luther King, and love solves all. That doesn't work at the time of Trump. That's why he's not resonating. He should be moving up. He's an impressive guy, I'm telling you. Oh, here's our friend Tiffany Cross. All right, let's. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at MSNBC. No, it's our buddy Tiffany.
Focus, Dean.
Focus. I am, but I saw on the screen. We got to do a break. All right, we're going to come back with more of what just happened right here on the Dean Obeidallah Show.
Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
You're listening to What Just Happened with everyone's favorite host, Dean Obeidallah.
All right, we're having a fight in the studio right now. We've progressive to turn on themselves. Save yourselves. Run, Maysoon.
This is when they talk about Democrats like killing each other. This is it.
Well, what would you say? Look, we only got a couple minutes. What do we say to our fellow progressives? We're on the Progressive Channel. You have to have a good fight. We have to vet the candidates ourselves too, because we don't want to miss something. Yeah. Then they win the nomination, and then the Trump exploits it. But how do we remind ourselves at the end of the day, our enemy is Trump. He is the enemy. And that we got to unite. If we don't unite, we will lose. There's no doubt. If we're not a united party, we lose to Trump.
Right. So what I've been telling my little tweep on my Twitter followers is hype up your candidate and stop tearing down the other ones. And then if, like you said, when we vet them, we see something that's really big, and I'm totally fine with that being something like Anita Hill, for him. Right. And then you bring it up. But I think we spend too much time, like you said, I'm a huge Warren fan. I posted the Biden video and I got hundreds of people being like, he's the worst, don't do it. And I said, hype up your candidate, get your candidate elected, and don't sit there and tear down everyone else. And once we have them, we have to unite. behind them. You have to. And I don't know. I don't think it's about flipping people. I think it's about like getting people who couldn't vote to be able to vote.
I think it's very much about mobilizing people. Just getting people to continue whatever the excitement they had for maybe who was initially the candidate for whoever becomes the nominee. And I do think it's going to be radically different this time around.
Sure.
Number one, because no one can say in 2016, a lot of people were sort of taking a chance on Trump. Like, well, they just didn't like Hillary. So now people know what kind of person and what type of administration he is, number one. And number two, that whole line of attack, especially in terms of Joe Biden about gaffes, with the individual that we have in the president, that to me is irrelevant because
gaffes
this
are
president,
adorable.
Gaffes, there's no comparison to the type of things that he says on accident and on purpose.
Got a minute. What do you think? How do we unite it?
I have to back what Maysoon's saying is that, don't tear down your enemy, build up, the one that you want to support. I think that's a great idea.
So where are you on Twitter? We have like 40 seconds.
Wali Collins, WaliCollins.
Follow him there.
Maysoon.com, like the month of May is coming soon.
Raul A. Reyes.
And of course, I'm at Dean Obidal. I'm going to White House Correspondents' Dinner tomorrow.
Had to get that in.
But I will be on Twitter
Big
the whole
shot.
weekend at Dean Obidal. No, Olivier Knox is the president. And Dean at deanofradio.com. I'll be in a Rolls Royce driving around.
That's it.
Thank you, folks. Thanks for tuning in tonight and all week. Look forward to chatting with you Monday. Have a great weekend. Have some fun. Get ready to keep fighting. Come back Monday. Have a great weekend.
Don't forget to enjoy the view.